Are we live? Okay, there we are.
Yeah.
It's like I was like, we're actually on time for once. So usually we've been a little bit late recently.
You are never late when I'm here.
No, I mean late when we go live.
Yeah. I make sure we are on time. Hello, everyone. We're waiting for you to join. Samantha already said hi, which shocked us a little bit.
We're like, oh
Hi.
my god, somebody's already here.
What can we talk about? Why we wait? How tired we are.
Well,
That
for all
was
the people to get in.
that was mostly what we talked about.
I may or may not be here for more than just saying hello because I'm waiting for I'm moving today and I'm waiting for the guys with the moving van to arrive. And just, at some point I'm going to get a call and I'll be like, bye. But in the meantime, I'm sitting here surrounded by boxes. That's what's going on over here.
Hi. Oh my God, so many comments. I wanted to. Now
Hi,
there's so many.
everyone.
Hi. 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 We should probably get started then if you.
Everyone's like
Yeah.
coming in.
So, which one do we want to start with? Do you have a preference? Are we taking requests? The first one to comment in the comments? Pick a discipline.
We'll go with the flow.
Mika.
We don't have like a slideshow this time. We have more easygoing.
I'm gonna pick something at random if nobody messages.
We'll see how much other people are also feeling stir crazy without skating to watch. I feel like we're just going back already to talk about last season.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you.
Laura has requested dance.
Let's go.
Who wants to go first?
So we're doing our top 3-ish of programs of the season, and this is because we're going to eventually have a awards and a thing that people can vote on. So we will collect nominations and have a vote of the public. I think people know that, but I'm just gonna say why I'm doing this now in the context. But yeah. So my top 3 in not particular order for dance. Piper and Paul's free dance. The rhythm dance for Orhara and Pirinen, their Madonna rhythm dance. And then I had a bit of a fight among a bunch of American teams for the next bit, but I think I decided to go with Christina Carrera, Anthony Ponomarenko's rhythm dance as my third.
I feel like people already know mine because I've been talking about them all year. So maybe it's probably unfair for me to have 2 of the same team in my top 3, but I do have Christina and Anthony's free dance and their rhythm dance in my top 3 because I love both of those programs so much. And then I've got a lot of options that I could pick for my third. I think I will pick O'Hara and Pirinen's free dance because I love their Chicago free dance. It's such a crowd pleaser. But I do have other options and like honorary ones that we could mention as well.
For me, this was hard. I went with programs that I would go back and rewatch and have rewatched multiple times this season. So I have Marjorie and Zach, surprise, surprise, their rhythm dance. I have Yulia Tokola and Matthias Wish-Lewis's rhythm dance as well because they did something that's like different for them and I really enjoyed it. I preferred when she had the tutu. I'm sad they lost that before Worlds.
I agree with you.
Because that's like, I could not have watched the rhythm dance all season. I'd see that and I go, that's 80s.
Yeah.
And then I have Lily Henson and Nathan Licker's free dance as well.
Such a good free dance. It's a shame we didn't get to see it more. They deserve more assignments and more opportunities.
So yeah, and also to all the people that are watching right now, please comment your favorites in the chat as well.
I will say, from Johnny saying Alison and Solios's rhythm dance, that was one of my honorary options that I bypassed.
Yeah. I also want to give a shout out to the rhythm dance for the German team, Jennifer and Van Rensenberg and Benjamin Stefan. I really liked their. They also had kind of a more rock one, and I really enjoyed that they picked the "How Can You Dance When the World Is Burning" as their opening. I thought that was such a good piece of 80s. I don't feel like I talked about that yet, so I'll give them a shout out.
I think I had that music stuck in my head like all season whenever they came out. I was like, oh, such a good music choice. I also will give a brief shout out to the Tashlers free dance because I thought it was an amazing concept of like honoring their father and everything. It was a really good program. It's a shame things didn't go quite as well for them at Worlds as they would have hoped, and they obviously had some injury troubles that season. But it was a really good free dance. So.
Also, Melissa had Zingis and Kolesnik's free, and that was another one of my favorites that I was debating putting into the top 3. I was sorry not to get to see that live this year. And then also Emily Brady, Ian Somerville, their free dance was really beautiful, and I was so sorry not to get to see that at Worlds.
Yeah.
So does anybody want to read out the Itsumi's list as well?
Oh, yes.
Because I always forget the names, so I can't do that, but
go back and look.
Okay,
there are too many abbreviations for me.
Zumi had Marjorie and Zach's free dance, Lucia and Theo's free dance, Piper and Paul's free dance, also a great program, Christina and Anthony's rhythm dance, and an honorable mention to Charlene and Marco for their rhythm dance for being iconic.
I also had Charlene and Marco's free dance on my list just because it's so beautiful and it plays to their strengths. So yeah, I love them.
Yeah. On the criteria though of are there programs that you have actually gone back and watched outside of the competition? I realized that the only one that I've actually gone back and watched multiple times was Piper and Paul's free dance. I wanted to look at it, how it changed, so I went back and watched some from earlier in the season, and then that was the one that I didn't get to see. I did get to see it live at Worlds, but I felt like I wanted to then watch it from the judges' perspective again afterwards. So I feel like that sticks out there for me as like the one that I will remember from the season and go back to.
Yeah.
So Samantha is saying, when the Italian's dress got caught on his skate, I panicked.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
Was that
genuinely
what
terrifying?
Was your ice dance moment of the season?
Moment of the season? Oh my god! I think Marjorie and Zach's free dance at Worlds was an incredible moment because obviously it was a home Worlds for them, and they had to miss out on home Worlds back when it was supposed to be there before. And they missed out on Worlds the prior season as well because there were only 2 spots. And also Marjorie was injured this season, so they didn't know if they were going to get there or not. And it's just an amazing moment with all of the crowd just cheering and them looking up at them after they finished. It was great.
I have Alison and Solis's moment at Europeans. Just everything about Europeans in general, but the fact that they got bronze there, love that.
Yeah.
Johnny Bao agrees with you.
Yeah, I think that was my moment too. It was such a good skate. And such a just
Yeah.
Is there any junior we want to highlight before we move on?
Yeah.
Who did I have? I had a few junior ice dance written down on my list.
I'll do it. I'll be patriotic. Ashley and Atul, their rhythm dance, loved it.
Yes. It was so much fun.
I got to see it back in July when I went to their rink, and just like straight off the bat, I knew it was going to be such a banger of a program, and it was really fun.
Lois got
I
a new
also had-
microphone, and now we can hear the cat.
Sorry. She's right beside the microphone. Zenda Sieber, the Swiss team's rhythm dance, which was like race car themed, was so much fun. I loved it from the moment I saw it. They obviously did Senior Worlds as well, but they spent the majority of the year junior. So it was such a fun program.
I want to shout out to the baby novice Italian team whose name I have forgotten, and who were at the Youth Olympics, because I thought they were so much fun, and all of the fun parts of watching teams that really are just kids, but are really talented and having such a great time. So I can't remember their names off the top of my head, though, because I didn't prepare for juniors.
It was Bianchi something, and I don't remember what the guy's name was, but Bianchi was her name. James M said Kishimoto Tamura's Mr. Roboto rhythm dance. I had their free dance written down as well, which was the Pulp Fiction theme, and I loved that program.
Oh, yeah.
And Donna Drake is asking a question I can actually answer. I'm in Germany right now. Should I
I'm
answer
in
for
the
everyone?
UK. I'm in England, the South.
Seconded.
And I'm in the US.
I hope that's...
I think it's because it's so dark.
Yeah.
It is getting to be nighttime here.
I thought we would have this at 8 p.m., but then I remember we moved it to 9.
Well, it's 8 for us, but 9 for you.
The night was still out. The light was still on earlier. Sun was still out. My God. Brain.
That light, big light.
I'm going to bring it up.
I'm sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maria and Georgi, or Maria rather, announced that she'll be looking for a new partner, and she announced they're split in the process, obviously, yesterday.
Georgi has been incredibly injured over the years. Whether it be a knee injury, whether it be back injury, like whatever the injury is, he has had it, which is so depressing because like I was so excited for their career when they were in juniors, like when they were moving up, and it's just not panned out, and it's very sad.
Yeah, it's tough.
I was going to ask for the saddest moment of the season, but I'm not going to do that. Maybe not.
I don't think
any other programs that stick out, like from the comments?
I think we talked about a lot of them.
Oh my gosh.
Phoebe and James, Grimsvisky. Yeah.
It's a real shame they didn't get to do their free dance at Worlds.
I know. Oh yeah, also news as of recent, if you haven't been on social media, Misato Komatsubara and Tim Coletto have split and she's retired.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to find a new partner or not. I just think maybe he needs time to decide what he wants to do. Maybe he'll announce retirement later down the line. But I think he was aiming for the next Olympics, so I think this came as a bit of a surprise to him.
Yeah.
And he has Japanese citizenship, so he'd have given up his other citizenship, right? Because I think
I know you have to give up your Japanese citizenship if you want, like the Finnish one.
Yeah,
that's what. Yeah, I don't think you can have. I don't think you can have dual citizenship. So I guess he would have given up.
Yeah.
American citizenship when he got Japanese citizenship. I do occasionally see a lot of skaters from Japan on like Ice Partner Search or whatever who want, to get into ice dance and stuff. So maybe he has an opportunity there, but it's a bit hard to start all over again at that point.
Yeah.
There was a couple of other things. Comment about Hawaii Bakers programs.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen those programs in full. They looked absolutely stunning. So yeah, it's really sad.
They set the season out,
and
right? They
depressing
haven't
tale.
retired.
They haven't officially retired. I know Caitlin's website went live, I think yesterday or something. It says like contact her for coaching, choreography, music editing, makeup, stuff like that. It doesn't sound like they're going to come back. I know they have a
Because I
couple of
was-
shows booked in the
Because I was thinking
summer,
they could
but
just do it next season if it fits, like some of it.
yeah, it just doesn't sound like that's in the cards. I think they've left the door open, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
A couple more comments. A broken record on this one, but Piahara not ready to say goodbye to it. Neither would they, to be fair.
No, they were like, we don't know what we're doing next. Help us.
Yeah, anyone have a brilliant idea for them. They were looking for suggestions. So
Do we still have the Spotify with like the?
Yeah, we have music recommendations up there. Yeah.
So if you want to add to that,
we can post a link in the chat or something because it's not on the Instagram anymore because it's not recent anymore. I can only fit 5 links in the Instagram at one time.
And then just Neve's comment saying that you can't have American and Japanese citizenship. So
yeah,
would have given that one up. Oh, wait, I did a thing. I ran a poll because I figured out how to do that about what discipline is next. And the winner was pairs.
Ah, so we're doing pairs next. Fun.
How did you do that? Where did you do it?
On the YouTube chat, 47% pairs, 41% men, 11% women. So
wow, people are not interested in our women's picks.
So I guess we are doing pairs then.
We'll do pairs next. Yeah. Does anybody have a request to go first?
Please go ahead.
I've been talking about all 3 of these programs all season, so this won't be a surprise to anybody, but I had Valentina Plazas, Max Fernandez's short program, the Rhapsody theme of Paganini. Absolutely love it. And the fact that they could make a pairs short program that was actually a work of art, despite all of the rules that you have to put and elements you have to put into a short program, was amazing to me. And then I have Danilova and Siba's free skate, which is their Fleetwood Mac, the chain, such a good free skate. I kind of hope they do keep it for another year. I'm not tired of it. I would love to see that more.
Agreed.
And then Rebecca Gilardi, Filippo Ambrosini's free skate as well. I very much enjoyed Deanna and Max's vampire program, but I liked Rebecca and Filippo's Dracula even more. So of the battle of the vampires, I had to put them first, even though I think I have honorable mentions for both of Deanna and Max's programs. I thought they were really, really good vehicles for them this year.
I will echo both Anna and Johnny and say my number 1 was Danilova Siba's free skate, the chain. I was obsessed with that program. I need more Fleetwood Mac in skating. They tend to keep one program and change one program. So considering they had their short program for 2 years, I think they're changing that one. So they might keep the free. So I hope they keep the free.
They said they were thinking about keeping it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know they were getting choreography a while back from their in-house choreographer, Sophia Edvo. I can't say her name. Edvokimova. I think that was for the short program, so they might keep the free. I also, dipping into juniors for a second, I have Flores Wang's Once Upon a December. I loved their Anastasia short program. It was so amazing, and I need more Anastasia programs. People seem to think they're like very childish, but they're juniors, so that doesn't matter. But I just think it's really beautiful music. I think it's really catchy. So
I liked their Star Wars program a lot too. I felt like playing characters was really good for them.
It was great for them.
Yeah.
I
but
also had Gilardi Ambrosini, but I had their short, not their free. I loved that music, and I wish I could have seen that program a bit more. I don't feel like it got
Yeah.
enough runs. It was a great program. And
same.
honorable mention to Deanna and Max's short program, because Oxygen, like, I did not love it at the beginning of the year, and it just became such an earworm, and it was really like catchy by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Before,
And that program live was one of those moments of like, this is the program in the moment, like of all of the teams that tried to pick things to be French or whatever to be for Montreal, that was the one that was like, yes, it really landed.
Yeah.
so slightly off topic before I say mine, because I only have two because I was like struggling to narrow down three. Neve said Scam Going America has just been announced for Allen, Texas, and
Okay.
US Nationals will be held in Wichita, Kansas for next season.
Interesting. And I know
So-
Skate Canada was announced as Halifax yesterday, even though I think we all kind of already knew that.
Yeah.
I will say that in the theory of put nationals in random small cities and make it affordable so people from that city go, I hope that that's kind of what Columbus was, and I'm hoping that Wichita is like that again. Because
Yeah,
that
Columbus was really like people loved
yeah.
that in terms of the crowd. It was cheap and people were having a great time.
Yeah. So, it may not be like the place that people are the most excited to travel to as a destination, but like hopefully it will be good for the locals.
Yeah.
I'm not going to any Grand Prix next season probably because I work in politics and the US election is going to take over my life next fall. But I'm a little sad that I'm not getting to go to Halifax because I really like Halifax as a city, and I think it's a really good skating community there, and I think that'll make it for a good Skate Canada. So I will put my 2 cents of recommendation that people should consider Halifax as a location.
Okay. Someone has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever. Johnny saying, "The Wizard of Oz free dances for Kansas." Someone make that happen, please.
Yes.
That'd be very funny.
My pairs picks, as Laura said, Oxygen music gets stuck in your head. It did with me. That's why it became one of my favorites. And the other one that I've written down is Katie McBeath and Daniel Parkman. I enjoyed both of their programs, but I loved their short program because I really liked some of the transitions in it. But I think they worked with Yura Min on both. So
I know they worked with her for at least one of them because I remember seeing pictures of them working with her.
I read a Big Skaters Online article. I can't remember if it was both now because memory, but yeah, I really enjoyed that. And then honorable mentions to like every other pair skater because I think pairs was one of the best like field of programs.
Yeah, I agree with that.
For me anyway.
And I was going to say, for Izumi's choices, she has Interview with a Vampire and Oxygen as well.
I saw that Lara put Peng and Wang Sorcerer's Apprentice program. I thought that was so good. I actually really enjoyed both of their programs this year. I mean, Laurie Nickel does great pair programs, but it's fun to have them be to music that isn't always used in skating. And
yeah,
it's something that could have been like too campy and juniorish if it had been a younger team, but because they're a team with such high quality, they could kind of elevate it a little bit. I really enjoyed them.
Pretty sure she's been working with them again for one of their programs for next season because I saw them with her, and I think they might have been working with the Ice Academy of Montreal on the other one potentially.
That sounds familiar to me.
I think I saw pictures with them with Marie France.
Yeah. I also want to give a shout out to Leah and Trent for their Gladiator program, because while Gladiator is way overused, I felt like it was a really good really good program for them, and I loved their final pose.
I was going to say the one thing I remember will
Like,
take away from that program is the final pose of her like on his shoulders, like.
and sometimes that's all that's all you need from a program is like one, it's the one iconic moment if it sticks with you, and good job for them for creating an iconic moment. And so those are the things that stand out.
Yeah.
I have an honorable mention of 1 second, Minerva and Nikita. Being their first like proper season together competing, I was really impressed with him in particular in how much he grew with the choreography. Because I remember their first competition, Lombardia, their short program is like a more softer program. It's more sort of Minerva's style. And the difference between the first and second competition, I remember being like, that's almost like a different person skating for Nikita, because he just softened out so quickly.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh my god, yes. And Annika and Robert, their worlds, just a moment.
I was so in love with their world's performances. Like, I've never been so happy for somebody to land a jump in my life.
So let's look at the comments.
Saw some East of Eden camo shade talk as well up in there.
Yeah.
It was a really beautiful program. Very beautiful.
I wouldn't be able to pronounce your name. What is it?
Neve.
Neve.
Thank you. I did want to shout out Neve, but I didn't want to say the name. Yeah. So, which program
there's so
made you
many
the most
pairs.
emotional? I want to know that.
The most emotional?
Yeah. Because going off Neve's comment.
Yeah.
I mean,
I need a minute.
It's hard to define that. I mean, in terms of building towards something and winning something, Deanna and Max at Worlds is probably the most emotional. Even though, like, the vampire program is not necessarily emotional in itself, but that moment of them winning is emotional.
Yeah, I felt like for seeing them at Worlds and seeing, I had the similar feeling with, I'll talk about with Cowrie and with Deanna and Max, because I saw them at the beginning of the season at Autumn Classic and then saw them at Worlds. And so it was this cool moment of seeing like people who were, they were great and dominant then, and then being able to pull, really grow into it and be able to do it at Worlds. I don't know. I felt kind of connected to those programs from Deanna and Max, and just the emotion for her and for both of them in that space in that moment was really wonderful. And the other team that stands out in that way was Annika and Robert, like especially because they didn't have that at the Europeans, and then being able to skate so well. It was wonderful. Also, Neve, I saw the comment for Emily and Spencer, and I really enjoyed both of their programs this year, and I'm not usually a fan of either Elvis or Exegesis particularly, and so I really missed them in competition, and hoping that they'll be able to be fully back and healthy next year.
My moment wasn't really like a program related moment. It was more like achievements. So as you said, Deanna winning Worlds, it was Matteo winning Europeans after, many years. It's like the smaller milestones, Minerva and Nikita podiuming at their first Worlds together. Those moments really got me. Even as Claudia says, Ricky and Ryuichi getting silver at Worlds after being absent the rest of the season. That was special.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, I would just say that the entire especially the short program at Worlds, was such an enjoyable event. And I just love seeing all of these teams that are trying so hard right now to, claim a spot, because this still is a fairly open field in a lot of ways. And sometimes that has meant that it's been messy. And then everyone was skating so well at Worlds that was just made me so excited. And I'm really excited for next year. I think we don't know what the rule changes are going to look like in practice, but the fact that there's going to be one fewer element, and they're adding the choreographic spin and choreographic lifts into pairs now. This has the opportunity to create some really exciting elements, some really exciting choreography. I really hope that teams take it and take risks and run with it. It's a little, it's pre-Olympic season, so it's a little tough, but I really hope that we see some of these teams that have the capacity to do just really, great things, and then we get like a whole season of just interesting, weird, fun programs and elements next year. So that's what I hope that I'm putting out into the world. I hope that that the teams really take it and run with it, and that the judges reward that innovation.
Yeah, because I feel like the biggest criticism of pairs as a discipline is that it's too formulaic. Everyone is kind of doing the same thing with their programs, or the elements kind of follow the same trajectory. Everyone does the twist first, or almost everyone does the twist first. And then it just kind of, yeah, I think people feel like the programs look a bit too much the same in terms of elements. So it'll be really interesting to see if there can be more individuality and more creativity.
I want to highlight Johnny's comment, because you get me. It's great at the moment because, unlike with dance, there's no fixed order with the judges. I have been an ice dance fan from day one. Pairs this season, maybe number one.
Yeah.
Because there's just, and it was a discipline, as I said earlier, Pairs Redemption season. 2 seasons ago, Pairs was such a small field. This past season was so great to watch.
Yeah.
Good.
Ice dance was so disappointing this year. Ice dance was so disappointing this season. It's. I'm not going to keep banging on about it because I've mentioned it a fair lot. Ice dance has really annoyed me this year. Do we know which one we're moving on to next?
With the men.
I do want to say though, thank you so much to everyone who's commenting, because we love the interaction, and even if we are not highlighting your comment, we are reading all of it. And
yes, we are.
Mostly agreeing with you. Yeah. I can't say 100% of the time, but mostly. And thank you so much for commenting and for being here and for listening.
We love spending time with all of you and chatting with you.
Let's talk about men. Did the men? That's what I want to know.
I mean, the men probably did men at some point, but it was a pretty good season for the men.
Not as much.
Yeah, it was a pretty good season.
The men was.
I'm so proud.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, the internet is so laggy on my end. I'm going to say I'm really proud because I got my picks like straight away, but I want to Anna speak, so please go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that the men this year, there was a fun cluster of a top group. They were all felt like they were really pushing each other, and that it was unclear where that was all going to end up. And I think that's really exciting for the discipline, that we have this not just like one dominant person, but that we have a bunch of people who are all really pushing each other.
Yeah.
I think especially the Grand Prix final, maybe like 5 out of the 6 of those men, you can pick your 5 because the men were men. Probably will be the Olympic contenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you never know what's going to happen, but it was a great season, I think, for men.
Yeah.
So please start your lists, Sarah.
So My first pick straight away came to mind was Dennis Vasilio's Lion King free skate. I know we've only seen it once. Goosebumps. Like, just the choreo sequence, loved it. Rewatched that so many times. My second pick was Yuma Kageyama's Rain in Your Black Eyes free skate. You wouldn't be able to tell he was injured like last year.
Yeah.
He came out the gate just incredible. And my third pick was Shun Sato's short program to Live a Tango because I'm obsessed with it.
Yep. I will follow you on and say my number one was Shun's Live a Tango. I loved that program so much. My second, I have Yuma's Believer. I know a lot of people don't love Imagine Dragons. I have a little soft spot for Imagine Dragons. Back when we first started like watching skating, we had this like joke, me and Sarah, that every like ice resurface there would be like Imagine Dragons playing in the background or something like that. We'd like have like an Imagine Dragons count because it would just be like all the time. I also my third, I because this is the one I keep coming back to and I keep thinking about is Mateo's Fix You. And I'm glad he's keeping those programs for next year. It was so emotional, especially Europeans knowing the injury he had and that he was about to have surgery. And then it's going to mean so much more next year, like in terms of fixing, the problem that he had. So yeah, that one made me really emotional.
Yeah. I was debating whether to put that program of Mateo's on my list, and I think it's definitely one of my moments of the season. And also I'm glad that you picked Dennis's Lion King, Sarah, because that way I don't always have to be the one to be like, I'm Dennis.
I got you.
I did pick the Hallelujah short program though from Dennis as one of mine. And then kind of a bit out of left field, but I just really, really enjoyed Hyung Young Kim's short program to music. He just was living it every time he skated it. It was so much fun. He was just expressing and really like just giving emotionally with that program every time. And so even though I find that like I always would have said, oh my god, that music is so corny, and like I don't, it was one of those things that every time I saw that program it would make me smile. So he's getting that credit from me. And then also I just really enjoyed both programs from Camden Pulkinen this year. I saw someone had put his short program in the chat, and that was great. And I also really enjoyed Tosca for him. He had so much just great emotion and energy. And even though I feel like we never quite saw like a beautiful, clean version of it, it was great. And then I want to give shout outs also to Walter Virtanen's Free Skate, which is has a really deep emotional story, and that'll come out more in the interview. But like his artistry just keeps improving, and I really enjoyed watching both of his programs this year. And then I also wanted to give a shout out to Ivan Shumaratko, who I think is doing such interesting, deep work with his programs. And I had one other. This one right out of my head. Okay.
I have a couple of honorable mentions myself. One of them, junior/senior, Edward Appleby's short program to You Should Be Dancing and Disco Inferno. I love when he does like old school disco kind of programs. I think it's such his wheelhouse. He like it really like brings him out as a performer when he does stuff like that. So I love that program. Also, Vladimir Samoilov's Fatboy Slim short program. I think the only time he really delivered it was Euros, but it was such a moment, and he did it so perfectly, and it was so much fun. Loved it.
Yes.
I want to read out Izumi's. So she had Shoma's Free Skate, Dennis's Hallelujah short program, Jason Brown's short program, with honorable mention to Donia Dance, which was Mateo's old
original short program. I loved that program. I wish he would have done it to its like
Camden's short program as well. Loved the new feel and style for him. And another honorable mention to Ivan's short program and Yuma's exhibition and Dennis's exhibition.
Yuma's exhibition actually was the other thing that I was trying to think of, because I really, really love Yuma skating and didn't connect super well with either of his programs this year. Like, I always enjoyed watching him, but like they're not programs that I necessarily was, I don't know, just wasn't grabbed by. But his exhibition just so gorgeous.
Neve's comment just made me laugh. But Wesley's Sam Smith Romeo and Juliet program having a sad boy moment.
Sarah and I, we both have control over the comments, and we kept
Both
You're fighting to put it out there.
so funny.
Also, I want to give a shout out to Luca Broussard, who we didn't actually get to see much of his programs this year, but I really enjoyed both his short program To Everybody Hurts and his Four Seasons Free Skate. I thought they were both really lovely vehicles and kind of just unusual choreography, and highlighted a lot of his strengths. So I hope, whether or not we'll see more of those programs in the future, it was just, again, very encouraging for the kind of skater that he is. And I hope he keeps that, like, yes, pick some out of left field music, and keep doing that.
Yeah.
There are so many comments for men, and I love it because I really do think program wise they stepped it up this year.
Yeah, there was a lot of there's a lot of different programs. Like, I do feel like we'll probably talk about it when we get to women, but the women's field was very kind of samey. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of standout. But the men kind of tried to find something that was their kind of niche and that would make an impression on people.
Yeah. Yeah. There, if I think like what are my criteria for a really good program, it's that I want to go back and watch it again, and that there's something that that's memorable in it, and so many of the men's programs were memorable. Like, I have very clear sense, like, that is what this person was skating this year, and I'm going to remember that and associate it with them going into the future. And for women, I had to like think back, well, what did that skater skate to this year? And the season's not that long ago. So
yeah, I agree.
This went viral, right? The gala, was it the gala?
Oh yeah, Ilya's world performance. Well, no, I don't know about his gala performance, but his free skate went very viral.
I saw that everywhere.
And as it should, it wasn't like, wow.
Yeah.
There are so many good people being mentioned. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, Selevko had Sasha Selevko, obviously, because there's two Selevkos, had such a breakout season, and he is capable of very interesting styles. So I'm interested to see what he does next year.
I'm really interested. Yeah, I'm very excited for him. I feel like I also forgot that he's as young as he is. In my mind, he was older. And so I was like, oh, you're going to be around for a while. Good. That's, was my feeling about him.
I feel like a lot of people won't remember that he was at the Olympics, because I always remember that he was there and that he dislocated his shoulder in practice before the competition, and still went out there, still performed. I can't remember if he came last or second to last. Obviously, Sadowski didn't do very well either. But yeah, he like, nobody would have really paid attention to what he did, but I was like, oh, you poor dude, like, all that work to get to the Olympics, and that's what happens to you like a few days before the short program.
You just like unlocked that memory.
Yeah. I remember him being like seeing like backstage stuff of his like shoulder being taped up and stuff. I'm like, oh god, you poor dude.
Want to definitely give a shout out to Donovan.
Incredible season.
So good.
He's made so much improvement in his skating skills since moving to Canada. He's got the quads and he's got triple axel. They're not like 100% reliable yet, but they're getting there. And I'm so impressed by the improvements he's made, and I can't wait to see what he does next year.
And he did them at Worlds.
Just
so good. So good.
15th at Worlds. Amazing.
Yeah. Oh, his performances at Worlds were just like, I feel like it set the tone for the whole event. It was like he went out there and was like, we're like, oh, he's still in the lead. He's still in the lead for most of
Yeah, he was in the lead for a while.
And especially it was like, yes, like way to just show that you're there and ready to make a mark.
Because like obviously he had like his ankle surgery like a season or so ago, and when he went to Worlds last, I think something happened with his boots, broke or something, and he wasn't able to perform. And then I think even earlier this season, his boots didn't show up to a competition. He had to borrow some from, I forgot which skater it was. It was a Swedish skater, but he was I think he was at like Tayside Trophy or something, and his boots didn't show up. So it's not an easy ride being Donovan.
Yeah. You know, I think my moments of the season for the men, it was gotta be a combination between Matteo at Europeans. That was just such an emotional moment to see him skate so well in that performance when we knew that it was gonna be the last for a while, and just so I'm so glad to see that it looks like his recovery is going well. So feel like that was just such a emotional moment though for everybody in the arena watching him. And then Dennis's free skate at Worlds was just, I have so happy. But yeah, it was a great moment. And I also just want to say, because we didn't talk about Shoma really at all here, and I felt like Shoma's short program at Worlds was just one of those moments of like, okay, just you are the best skater. Like when you bring it, you have the best combination of all of the things. Lay it down, and then you couldn't do it in the free, and it's, you know, I don't have an issue with the results, but it was just like, it was that moment of like, right, this is what it looks like when somebody is at the top of their ability and can just bring it all in that moment. And so that was it was really special to watch that too.
Laura, you just unlocked that memory in me, and I got very annoyed about Matteo's invalid choreo sequence. I think it was his like second Grand Prix. Oh my god, so annoyed.
I have so many feelings about choreo sequences. I'm actually, it's okay. So let me just say, having my Twitter handle is literally choreo sequence, because I am a sucker for like beautiful choreographic moments. Like that is what I watch skating for. Give me a beautiful spiral, give me something interesting, like on the music. That is what I live for. And the number of my favorite skaters who have had their choreo sequences invalidated because they were not clearly like hitting the exact check boxes of being a choreo sequence, like, ugh. So the fact that Pears now has taken out the choreo sequence, I am not mad, because it is, I want choreography. I don't care about choreo sequence.
I found it really interesting that in the new like document that came out the other day, they specifically put down skating, like in terms of like choreo sequence, like 2 skating moves, as if it wasn't a skating move before. Okay.
There was I did hear some grumbling from some coaches about that definition and how it is still unclear what is and isn't included in that. And are they trying to discourage acrobatics, and is that really,
which is interesting because they've been encouraging them for the last like 3 or 4 years.
Right. It's very unclear like what they mean by a skating movement. Everything could be a skating movement. Like there's
yeah.
Just running through the comments before I assume we move on. Some more comments for Anthony. Paradis free. Luke Economides is short program. Resident Social Stan Claudia saying his free skate was great. Just want to make sure I hit as many people possible. Junwan's short program,
Hope
Yanhao
John has a better
Lee,
year next year.
and everything that he did this season. Am I missing it? I feel like we mentioned.
Russell mentioned Gabriel Fulkerson, who had a really great program that I loved. I can't remember which program it was now, but it was really like great to see him kind of joining the fray as like the second Swedish man after Andreas Norbeck. And I did see that Norbeck landed a quad for the first time in some sort of domestic competition or something a while back. So interesting to see the progress being made there.
On the junior side, I want to give one more shout out to Gabriele Francesco Zeke, who had two really interesting programs this year, and I think is someone to keep an eye on just in terms of what kind of artistry he's going to be able to bring in the future.
Yeah. Can we move on to the women?
Yes. I start the Neve comment for this because she said, I feel like the women meant more than the men.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I don't know if like barely any of my choices had like perfect skates or perfect seasons like of my choices. I guess I'll start. My first one was Haley's Sirens short program. I don't think she ever like did it perfectly, but it was such an interesting program and definitely like an out of the box choice. I have Hannah Sheeta's Cuckoo Fun because I thought that was a really fun program and really catchy. And I also have this one. I have a few honorable mentions as well, but I also have Reno Matsuki's Moulin Rouge. I just thought she was her glide like during that program was just gorgeous. It's a shame we didn't get to see her more, but I'm not excited to hopefully see her more next year.
Yeah, I had Lindsay Thorngren's board program, The Windmills of My Mind, was gorgeous. I really loved that. I saw she's getting choreography from Sandra Bezic again this year. Just love that that partnership is continuing, and I love seeing Sandra doing choreography again, competitive choreography again. And then I feel like the only person who loved, actually, I really enjoyed both of Cowrie's programs this year, but I loved her free skate, and I am not usually a fan of Feeling Good. I just feel like that program, every time I saw it, it delivered so well. It did let her stretch herself in her expression and try a new style, and just seeing it at Worlds, the way she was landing those combos in the second half on the beat of the music, and just like that is a champion. Like she is my champion, and I feel like that program worked so well for her as a vehicle this season. I'll be a defender of that unpopular choice. And then I had a really hard time deciding on a third because I felt like as we were saying, there are a lot of good programs, but I kept feeling like, oh, this is a good skater, but is this program going to be like the memorable program from this skater? I feel like actually what we're going to see from them hopefully in the future will be better. And so I had a lot of people who were kind of in that category. That's what I felt about Monet Chiba. Both of her programs were good, but I feel like, they could be better. We will do programs that are going to be even more distinctive and better than that in the future, I believe, though I did enjoy her short quite a bit. But I think I want to give my shout out to the junior Rina Uezono for both of her programs, actually, but especially her free skate was just really interesting. I always looked forward to it out of the junior field, where especially a lot of the women's free skates can be so much the same. She has something really special, and I was so impressed with how much she could bring to her choreography at 13.
I'll start with Izumi's women's picks because we both only picked two as well. So Izumi had Nina Petrokina's short program and Nina Pirazzone's exhibition skate. And then for mine, I had Anastasia Kubanova's short program and Josephine Talyagod's short program as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just
Yeah.
I feel like it's been a weird season for women. I hope there's more interesting music choices next season. I
Yes.
feel like a lot of it was quite the same. And I personally, I just need something a bit more like interesting. Even if it's only one program, just like grab me it with something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out on that regard to Young Yu, who I felt like both of her programs, her
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the song, but she had a very like drama pop song for her short program, and
Listen
then
to Your Heart she had at the beginning of the season.
Yes.
That was one of my honorable mentions. I love that song so much. So I love that program, even if she didn't ever like do it to its ability and she changed her programs by the time she got to Worlds. But I loved that choice.
That choice, and then honestly, her Lord of the Rings free skate, they both were like, I just was like, I am emotionally invested. You're giving me your heart on a platter. I am ready for it. And that I think that's what I want. I don't want things. This is part of my issue, and this I'm not blaming the skaters, but I'm blaming sort of the what has been rewarded and in the
Yeah.
past for this. But the men have a freedom to be messy that allows for creativity. And I think that we're often really harshly judging the women for not being perfect and not having every hair in place, sometimes literally. And I would love to see more out of the box choices. And so, with that, shout out to Caitlin Weaver for picking some really out of the box choices for some skaters this year, and not every one of those programs landed. I mean, we talked about Hannah's Cuckoo Fun, which I think was great, but the choice that she made for Amber, and honestly, even for Mao Shimada, like these are really interesting options, and so I'm looking forward to seeing more of that in the field. I really hope we will see more of that in the field.
I had another couple of honorable mentions. One of them was Lindsay Thornton's Windmills of Your Mind. It didn't land on me like the first time I saw it, but when she like got the timing right, it was a gorgeous program. Also Mana Kawabi's short program, she didn't get to perform it much. She didn't have a great season. She was very sad that she didn't have a better season, but she always had thank you, Claudia. She always kind of has choices that reflect kind of her youth and a fun energy, and I feel like a lot of other young skaters don't have that. It just kind of becomes kind of not monotonous, kind of sad music. I want more fun, especially from the younger ones.
Yeah. I have to jump in a second, but I also noticed the Sonia Hilmer. Also want to give her a lot of credit for being interesting and she choreographs for herself, and she does really interesting movements, and she's somebody who really has a perspective that she's bringing. And then also Lara Naki, I think Claudia mentioned her short program. That was really interesting movements and unusual. So someone else that I'm excited to see what she comes up with next year, assuming that she'll have a new free skate, because we had Hitchcock for 2 years. Like, I'm really curious to see what her next steps are going to be. And I hope we'll still see enough of her, even though Serena Yus is the sort of top skater technically now for Italy. I feel like what Lara brings choreographically is so interesting. So I'm hoping for more of that from her in the future.
Yeah, agreed.
Do you have a special moment that's sticking out to you guys for the women?
For the women, I mean, it would probably just be Kaori winning Worlds again. I don't feel she's so incredible, and she had to like work for it like a little bit, because obviously she was like down in I think 4th after the short program. So, but yeah, she's just such an incredible skater, and I love her.
Yeah, same. That was the moment that, almost more than anything, where I'm like, I'm glad that I'm here seeing this in person. Yeah, I even got, like, when people were talking about the winners from the other disciplines more than her three, I was, and people, because there's more of an asterisk around women's and the other disciplines with the Russians not being there, and I just was like, no, I'm not accepting any
Exactly.
asterisks next to her. I feel like she is just such, her consistency and her ability to bring this out in competition is just so great. I think she deserves to be up there in the names of all of those, like, people who go down in the history books as, like, the great champions of skating. So I really am not taking any yeah, I don't want anybody to overlook her achievements, even as we're celebrating people like Ilya and Deanna, who are making such waves out of worlds.
Yeah. Laura said Ava winning NHK trophy. That was such a wild moment for the sport, just because, like, Ava only had one Grand Prix or whatever, and no one would have predicted her to win. She really, like, cemented herself as somebody, like, to root for and to watch for the future in that competition.
Yes.
Also, Neve saying Amber's 11th.
we've lost Anna now.
Neve saying Amber's 11th to 3rd at Espo. There was another one.
Kimi Rakon's redemption at Worlds. Considering she had an injury that took her out of a long time in the season as well, it was great to see her have that moment.
I'm looking back at the season, the women's results, trying to, like, trigger something to find as a favourite. So I guess I'd highlight Nina Petrokina's Skate America medal.
Yes.
And Nina Perazzone's amazing upward season in the first half, Grand Prix final.
Yeah, incredible.
Doing incredible things. And I think Europeans medal. Yeah.
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 It's just a shame she was injured when it came to Worlds.
I did star something. A question from Samantha.
We have no idea what form Rika is going to be in, so it's incredibly hard to predict. Obviously, she's taking time off now. I do think she should have taken the time off earlier and fully recovered earlier, and she probably would have been hopefully back to form by now if that had been the case. I can't predict how Rika's going to perform, but she is an incredibly talented skater. Alyssa is looking great from her Instagram. Again, we don't know what she's going to do when she gets there. I don't think she has quite, like, the stature in the sport that Kaori has right now. I think Kaori is hard to beat, but I do think she could be a world podium contender again.
I think it's gonna make nationals interesting, at least.
Yeah, I mean, we could see Brady back as well. Hopefully, she'll have recovered from her broken foot. She's been incredibly unlucky with injuries as well. So yeah, be interesting to see what the US women's field is going to look like.
Have you talked about junior women?
Anna did a bit about Rena and Mao, but yeah, I don't know if there's a lot of programs that stood out to me. You thing size short program I loved. She was such a remarkable, like, discovery for me this year in juniors. I thought she was great. But yeah, we can talk a little bit about what's coming up.
I do have another question before.
Okay.
I do want to know your highlights of the season for AnythingGOEs.
Highlights for us?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what the highlight for us was.
Oh. I need time to prepare.
It's wild to hear that skaters are watching our live stream.
Terrifying.
It's terrifying. It's genuinely terrifying.
Yeah, Anna has
Yeah.
been called out.
Yeah.
For making
Anna
some
got called out
comments.
for not liking some people's programs. But yeah,
Also,
that was
some
fun.
people just like in passing saying that they enjoy our streams, so that's
Yeah.
always nice. I don't
Do you have a
know,
question?
like,
I was going to say, I have a question to the chat. Is that our awards are coming up very soon. If you have any input on new categories that you would like to see, we are thinking about maybe a hair/makeup category that we didn't have last year. Anybody has any input, it will be taken into consideration because we should have our first roundup very soon.
So you can comment here or like message us somewhere else.
Yeah.
I do want to
Leave
say
a tweet or something.
my highlight is the community in our chat, which is very nice to see. Yeah, no, I'm very grateful. It's like really nice to see how many people are tuning in and how many of
I
you guys
agree.
are interacting.
Yes.
And coming back, I know people's names. I know who you are. That's really nice.
I think we do have a best kiss and cry moment category already.
Yes,
but we'll definitely keep it in.
Yes,
that's a good category. Yes,
it's a great category.
I have my favorite moment for us for the season is being able to grow our team as us. We started as 3 people.
this is so much easier now that we're alone.
We can talk really nicely about everyone. But we started as, us 3, and we've grown into 5, and now into how many? 10?
I don't know how many little extra people we have helping us out.
We've
Case in
lost
point.
count.
Claudia with
Shout out
us.
to Claudia, one of our people.
Yeah, it's been really nice to be able to grow. And I also wanted to say the decision for, and this is not to sway voting, the decision for the hair and makeup category, should we do it as a hair category and a makeup category, or in both?
I would say hair and or makeup. So hair and or makeup, I would say. But
and this is inspired in 2 parts. One for Louisia's 3-hour hair
every night before the free dance.
Incredible. And also because ice dancers for practice, when they wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning for their 6 a.m. practice, have to like dress up. They dress up in their costumes, hair and makeup done, to do their practice, to then go back to the hotel
Melissa
and do
requests
everything.
separate categories. Okay. Well,
I think the more categories, the better. People like to vote. But we need you guys to be specific. Please say.
Yes, we had an issue last year with the costume category that people were just kind of saying a name of a skater. They were not specifying a program or like an event, because there were some skaters who changed their costumes throughout the season. So please be specific when you're voting. And when it comes to like best senior newcomer, we mean somebody who is like fully senior for the first time. Best junior newcomer is somebody who's fully junior for the first time. So not somebody who's doing a split season, really. It's
we will
specific.
try to be as specific as possible this time.
Yeah. But it's so fun doing the awards.
Also, absolutely. Also, want to echo the comment earlier saying, like the video. Please remember to like the video because it means a lot to us.
Subscribe.
If you're new here and are not subscribed, please consider subscribing because it just means a lot. I also ran a cheeky little poll. Now I know how to do them. About if people would be interested in a figure skating trivia quiz, because almost every evening I watch quizzes because I'm boring. And I thought it might be fun to do a figure skating one. I remember icedance.com did them during the pandemic. And so I was wondering if anyone would be interested in a trivia quiz. And it was 100% yes when I ended it. So I'm taking that as a yes, and I'm going to work on it.
That is a yes. That is a resounding yes.
So I'm going to work on that.
So yeah, also like, subscribe. Also, we do have a Patreon thank you to the Patreon subscribers. I now have a microphone that has been paid for by you for these streams. Hopefully I sound a little bit clearer and a little bit better.
I also want to say everybody's reaction to fantasy skating always gets me through it because it's a lot of work. But it's so wonderful to read all the comments. It's my favorite.
It's still, it will never not be wild to me that we came up with that in 24 hours when the first one happened. Like that is still wild to me because some people probably don't know the story in that. US figure
repeat it every single time.
We'll repeat it any time. US figure skating used to do a fantasy skating. I think I only got to do it 1 year when I started watching skating before they stopped doing it. And everyone was like going, well, when are they going to do it? When is US figure skating going to launch their fantasy skating again? And it never happened. And it was going towards the week down until the first competition. And I was just like, we could do one. And within 24 hours, we had put something together. And it's developed and it's changed since then and become a lot more streamlined and a lot easier to do. But it's one of the highlights of the season for us. So I'm very glad we did it.
We wish we could make it for every single competition. Unfortunately, it's not possible. I think.
We don't know how we would possibly do it for like Euros or Worlds because
it's true you can do it for any sport, but it's like difficult still.
Setting it up was not the easiest.
We are thinking about it. We are trying to think about like how we can implement it on other competitions. It's just
the way it works best is that there are several competitions in the Grand Prix, so it's and a limited amount of skaters, so it's a lot easier for that kind
I
of
also think it makes it special. It's only here for like 3 months.
I know Lois did already. I want to plug the Patreon again. If you are able to, no pressure whatsoever. A like on the video is absolutely enough.
But that's the bare minimum. No like, that's not enough. But
well, watching is the bare minimum. Joining us and watching is the bare minimum.
Because with your support on the Patreon, we are able to keep the website going, not only by Lois and Mike, but keep fantasy skating running, because that's a load of plugins that Ellie has to deal with every year. I don't deal with that. There was something else I wanted to say and I've completely forgotten.
I do like the idea of the bingo cards, to be honest.
I see people like start those like for some competitions, so maybe we can think about doing that as well.
The other thing I wanted to ask, as we're now in the off season, if there are any interview requests you have, please let them be known in the chat or in the comments. Obviously we can't interview everyone, but it'd be nice to know who you are interested in to hear from. Because we are expanding our team, we can maybe do a little bit more. Just let us know.
Yeah.
And Johnny, we did see your comment and it was very nice and very
sweet.
Yes,
I did see his comment.
Thank you.
That's what we're trying to do.
I will say I do sometimes get a little bit snarky, but I try not to.
Sometimes our guests get snarky and then the
that's true.
commenters call them out.
that is true. But also, we need to think next year about who we're having on for our recaps as well.
If there's any guests you'd like back.
If there's any guests you'd like back or anyone you maybe like us to reach out to, we can see if they're interested.
Yeah. Also, Samantha is asking, do you think journalists sometimes ask too many personal questions?
I think it depends if it's localized or not, and also what.
Yeah, I guess if it's like local
covering.
media. Yeah, I think local media will probably be more likely to ask that kind of a question. I don't think skating media is necessarily interested in that stuff. I mean, I think it's interesting to see how skaters balance school and skating, but specifics are not that important.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really like Megan, so we are all over the place right now.
We love Megan's impact as well.
Yeah,
she's so knowledgeable.
And also one of our most watched live, right?
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Very popular.
So
Russell is saying we all need to get together at Euros Sheffield. We are working on it.
We want it.
Like
We'll
this
see if
video?
it happens.
Then we will be there in 2 years.
We have we're already thinking about the Olympics.
Yeah.
Whether
we have a
that's possible or
time.
not, we'll see, but we'll try.
We will try to convince Sheffield to get in as many of us as possible. You will get like 3 different angles of everything and like 4 interviews.
You'll get a photo of people in the mix zone that actually looks all right, because my phone last time, horrible quality.
We will make this work.
We
We had we had
We're not laughing at
that's 2 names.
We did.
We had Kirsten Mortowers for Worlds last year, and we had Caitlin Weaver for, I can't remember what we had her for. We had her for a couple of different things.
And if I'm reading all the comments. Interview Johnny. I mean,
he does have
Something
I
that-
think we'll see. He's supposed to be starting his school at some point.
yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see what happens there.
tickle Zach and force him to laugh. That's Sarah's next mission.
He's not as serious as everyone thinks. I'll say that.
No,
Who was it? There was pictures of him with somebody recently that he always smiles with. I can't remember who it was.
Roman.
Somebody that was it Roman? Yeah.
It's always Roman.
Did he smile in the picture with you, Sarah?
Yeah.
No. See? So yeah, we will try our best. I'm reading through the comments.
We see what you mean.
We
I
what
don't
you
know
mean.
any names, so like I can't judge.
That could have been a person to Ellie.
Yeah, could have been somebody.
Samantha.
Yeah, it's a long way for us as well. Like, I'm all the way in the south. It takes me 4 or 5 hours to drive up. So
I'm probably there faster than you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you can come into like you could come into like London and we could all road trip up together. But
That sounds like I know your car. That sounds like a nightmare.
my car is not bad. My car is a bit shabby. It works. It's not bad. It's just small. It's a very
She was
small
commenting
car.
on it last year, right?
Yeah, she did the
She
World's
did the World's
Recap
Recap last
year.
year.
Oh no. Because I think she blocked me. We will try to free you.
Oh,
But we
no.
don't know what you did.
We could put in our own story here of somebody who
Yes.
blocked us. Somebody who blocked us very early on in our conception, and we had no idea why. Tiffany Zagorski blocked us on Instagram, and we have no idea why.
If you are
We
seeing this,
we didn't mention her.
what did we do?
We didn't do anything. All I think we may have done, because like very early on in our conception, we were doing like results, like stories of like the medalists of Grand Prix and stuff. That's the only thing I could have think that we tagged her in. I don't know why we would have got blocked for that.
But yeah, it was weird. It was weird. I'd messaged with her on my personal account, and I was always very tempted to ask why, and I just never did.
No, we just never asked her why. I think she followed us on Twitter, or at least something like that. But strange. She probably did it by accident, but it's just strange.
If somebody knows her who's watching right now, just let her know to unblock us, please.
Don't tell her. Like she's retired now, so it's fine.
We got so many
No grudges.
suggestions, by the way. A lot of why isn't my mouse working? A lot of repeat guests, and some other new people. We will definitely write those all down and take them on board.
Yes. We love guests. It's fun when we have them.
Yeah, and if there's anything else you want to see us do in the off season, we are planning content for our Patreon. Ever planning content for that. Our lowest tier is $1 US dollar.
Something like that.
I think I've worked out it's the US dollar. So I was trying
You
to
can get
convert
access to our
something.
Discord on the lowest tier, and we have nice little chats during competitions and about other stuff as well, like all of the recent splits and stuff. We talk a little bit about and stuff like that.
And if you like Formula One, there's also
We do have a little chat for Formula One. It's not very active, but we do have a little chat for Formula One.
Yeah. We can make other side channels as well.
Yes, we can.
Lila was our very first interview.
Lila was our first interview, and
Sure.
we were going to get Lewis at one point, and then it kind of fell through. But yeah,
I've
you've also talked to them at like qualifiers and stuff. Like every year, you talk to them.
Yeah, I plan to talk to them in August for qualifiers. But if there's anything in the off season that happens, we'll try and talk to them again. But qualifiers in August, I will definitely talk to them. Hopefully, if I go. But shouldn't be so assertive with that.
So yeah.
This is the part where we don't know how to finish, so we just sort of keep
We
talking.
just keep we bringing things up and scuttling around.
They do qualifiers to get the judges' opinions on their program.
Yeah, and I mean, you kind of have to. I think everyone still has to do qualifiers to qualify for nationals, even if they are, a top skater in the world. That was funny, Johnny. Yeah, I mean, they still do nationals, even though it's. I think this year it was all of about 4 or 5 days before the Grand Prix final, so.
They were,
it's important it's important for them and for the British ice skating to promote the sport little that we, audience that we have, and try and increase the popularity here.
The like one-time dancing on ice, as even if it's going to come back, we don't know. I don't know. I just have an inkling that it might not come back. That's
what, dancing on ice.
Too much drama has happened. Yeah.
I mean, they still managed it even with a different host this year. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, because we know obviously Torval and Dean are fully retiring next season. So it's interesting to see what happens after that.
I looked at their tour. They're like almost sold out at Wembley. The 3 shows they're doing, 3 or 4 shows.
We just lost all of the international audience. I'm so confused what you're talking about.
There are people who are much more into Torval and Dean than we are.
No, I meant with like on ice and dancing on ice. I'm like, okay, the drama.
Oh yeah, that way people wouldn't know what was going on. I'm still annoyed about that because they got like 2 lifts and a spin. Like, just let them do that program.
Oh, Claudia's asking, what are your thoughts on the rule changes?
Oh, I want to see how it looks. Like, I mean, I don't even know where to start. It's so hard to know when we don't know what's going to go through and what isn't yet, because obviously Congress has to decide. So I don't like to like commit opinions until I know whether things are happening or not. I haven't even committed an opinion on freaking qualifying round for Worlds yet.
I need to pull up the thread because I've been so busy. I have no idea what's happening.
The Euler thing got people very, very heated yesterday.
The Euler, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Euler is not disappearing. The Euler is still there. It's just not getting 0.5 of a point, and it's not being listed. You can still do 1 in the free. Robin is like the head of British ice skating, so I don't think we'll be seeing him on Dancing on Ice.
So
jump sequence in pairs will only have 2 jumps. I don't hate that.
No, neither do I. Although I think a lot of people hated like the axle kind of thing. I didn't hate it when it was executed well, but I can see why people do.
Yeah, I think it's hard because, like, well, I mean, it's going towards pushing the sport technically in that sense. Like, they want people to do the harder, like, combinations of jumps. Choreographic lifts, I think, are going to be interesting. I don't think it's the right time to introduce them.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah,
So a lot of
I'm really just interested for pairs.
people who are like confused at the difference of like choreographic elements and stuff. Like a choreographic lift, it does not look like a choreographic spin. It is moving. There does need to be a rotation. It is above the head. But the thing that I think confuses people is that spins also have like a potential to kind of have a lift in them, but it can't be above the head. So it's I know that it gets confusing.
There are a lot of comments right now.
Oh,
Now,
miss
are
you
you
everything. I
for-
also miss the pattern dance in ice dance. I miss it greatly.
I was I was googling Stephen Cousins because something in my brain was like, he lives in Canada, and yeah, maybe he'll. I don't
He's
know.
in US coaching apparently.
Interesting.
Russell replied.
Interesting.
I love when our commentators are helping out each other.
I think we've run out of things to talk about at this point.
Yeah, but I also know that there's like a delay between the live stream and the comments. There's like a
Oh, yeah.
1 minute delay. So I always feel like maybe there's another comment coming in. And then there's nothing.
Should put it up
Thank
on
you
your
all for
phone.
joining us. Thank you all for joining us.
I
It's
think
been
it's
great
time
to like run through the season with you all. We can't wait to see what you vote for in the awards.
Again, support us on Patreon, please, if you can, or with a like. We also like likes
And
and comments
subscribers.
and subscribers, and just thank you. Yes.
I don't know when we'll see you next. Probably for the awards. In like a month or
In
so.
a couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, we got a couple of weeks for the first round of voting, and then another couple of weeks for the second round of voting, and then we'll have the final, results. So then we'll join you for announcing the awards.
Bye, guys. Enjoy your summer.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.